Hey there, folks. Andre, the Game Idea Guy here, and I don't want to have to make this discussion, but I feel like it has to be done. And I know there are other people out there making these discussions, and I have been on this thing for a while, been saying the same thing. And just to put this out there really quickly before anybody starts running with, oh, you're being a hypocrite. First thing I'm going to say is, I don't like the fact that game prices and things are increasing so much. I don't like it. I never liked it. I didn't like it when it was happening before. I didn't like it back during the 7th and 8th gen. I didn't like it then. I don't like it because there's more and more expensive technology is being used in order to produce these games, which is costing us more as the consumers on the back end. I've never liked it. So, before anyone goes ahead and says that, and I even got called out on Twitter at one point. I remember somebody saying I was mad that prices got increased, and I was like, yes, I'm mad that prices got increased. That's the exact problem. I'm mad that the prices got increased for stuff that we end up having built into the games that don't even get used. So yes, I was agitated back then about it, and I'm also agitated now about it. The difference now is I'm older. I'm used to it. I know it's going to happen. I know it's going to repeatedly happen. And up until the point where I deem it unnecessary for myself, I'm going to be like, okay, I don't like it, but I get what's happening. So, that said, and again, if you really want to go through the history of my channel, you will find that multiple times over, I have said that gaming has been made too expensive multiple times over. It was made too expensive during the 7th generation, then again in the 8th, then again in the 9th, and again now. So I've said that multiple times over. You'll find it dispersed intermittently throughout my A Gamer's Thoughts discussions. But I've said it multiple times over. That said, yes, I do understand why a game like Mario Kart World would cost $80. One, a lot of the technology that's being used in the Nintendo Switch 2 is going to be passed off into the software. That was a given. You want a certain quality or a certain type of look or a certain level of graphics or a certain resolution, that stuff costs money. It costs money to obtain the licenses to be able to use it. It costs money to be able to use it. It costs money to pay people to use it. So it's going to cost more and more and more. You add in inflation and you add in the fact that these daggone tariffs are happening, cost of everything is going to go up. Newer technology is always expensive. Technology that is in a mobile device that is similar to a home device is going to be more costly. Because you have to have a smaller form factor that costs more money to produce. It costs more money to utilize it. It literally just costs more money to have it. So yeah, I get it. I understand. It costed us more money when Microsoft and Sony decided they were going to go the route of utilizing SSDs in the console. It cost more money when they upgraded the RAM. But people understood then. I'm confused as to why people understood then. I was the one back then, one of the few people back then saying, yo, I don't like this. They're costing us too much money. There are other ways to do the exact same thing or something very similar that doesn't cost as much, where you wouldn't have to spend as much money in development. You wouldn't have to spend as much money on hardware because you've already got stuff out that's capable of doing the same thing now. It just requires working around certain limitations and programming things to work within those limitations. We have an industry that keeps telling us more power, more power, more power, more power. And more power, more power, more power brings more cost, more cost, more cost. People kept asking for Nintendo to up their game, to start becoming on par with the competition. And they did what they could to do that within reason. The first thing that we get to hear, whoa, it's too expensive, bring the cost down. This is what you asked for. And I'm not listening to all the different discussions I've had right now, but I know for a fact right now, if you check my channel, you go through my different discussions on things when it comes down to Nintendo, I know for a fact I have said at least a couple times, if Nintendo does that, stuff is going to be more expensive and people aren't going to want to buy it. I may have not said it exactly like that, but I've said it in a number of ways. And I know we've said it multiple times on the Winging It podcast that people were going to complain about the prices. That was going to be one of the first things people complained about. You ask for something to be a certain way, but then you expect the cost to be the same as the old thing. That's not how it works. It can't work that way. It literally can't. If I run a shop, let's just say I run a tattoo shop. I run a tattoo shop and my equipment is getting old and dated. It's starting to break down on me. And I can't work as efficiently with that old stuff. And my tattoos would say I was charging maybe, depending on the type of tattoo, charging anywhere between 20 and about 80 bucks. Okay? Again, I don't know how tattooing works. This is just an example. And if somebody's a tattoo artist and they can vouch for this, cool. If not, no biggie. It's just an example. I get complaints from my customers. Hey, like, this is taking too long. It's far too painful. I like your work, but this is inefficient. And I say, okay, well, I'm going to invest some of the money I have from my business into getting better equipment or state-of-the-art equipment. Stuff that'll make the process smoother, make things easier. And I won't have to take as much time doing certain things because the equipment I have will help supplement a few things. That equipment is expensive, but I still get it. I get it, and that means I have to increase the cost of my work in order to pay back or earn back what I invested in that machine. So now my tattoos are no longer $20 to $80. They're running from $45 to $120. The work is better, it's of higher quality, I am more efficient, and potentially it is less painful. Everybody has different pain tolerances. But then I get told, why is it so expensive? Why did you increase your prices so much? I did as my customers asked me. You asked me to get better equipment so that I could better serve you. And then I do that so I can better serve you. But you don't think I deserve to be paid better. Again, I don't like it, but that's how it generally works. I don't have to like it to understand it. Again, it's up to the customer to not like something, and I get when customers don't like things. I am a customer. If you don't like it, you're likely to not, put the money into it. Unless it's something you really feel like for yourself you have to have. Unless you really truly feel like it's something you have to have. Which at that point, you're going to begrudgingly get it. You're going to begrudgingly pay for it. And again, understanding that. Understanding all of that. If somebody said they didn't like the fact that my tattoo prices went up, and they said, well, I'm just going to go ahead and steal your artwork that you created and go to someone else, or have someone else do the tattoo for me, don't you think that would piss me off? Where is the fairness in that? I get you not liking that my costs have gone up. I understand that 100% and completely. I understand that. But for you to take my custom work, what I created, and go to someone else and say, can you do this? That's a high level insult. You like my work, but you don't want to pay me for my work. Wow. You like my work, but you don't want to pay me for my work. Ain't that something? This is what leads back into that whole piracy thing. And I'm going to do a separate discussion for that, because there is something I really want to break that down more, but it's just, again, just a note for now. I get that people don't like prices. I get that people don't like that costs are going up. Trust me, I understand that. I'm not telling you you have to love it. I'm not telling you you have to be happy about it. I'm not telling you you have to sit there and appreciate it. All I'm saying is you have to know what you're asking for. When you ask for a certain thing and that certain thing happens, you got to understand that there comes a cost with that. There's a trade-off for it. So, that being said, I don't think that the drop the cost or whatever everybody was calling it is going to help. If anything, it's just going to signify to Nintendo that they just need to turn off comments. And they're not beyond that. They are definitely liable to turn off comments or even block the hashtag in the first place, or block the wording. So you're not doing yourselves any favors with that. The only thing that would effectively work, and I don't think it's going to happen because of how everything is selling out, or pre-orders are going, would be for people to not buy it. People not to buy the console, not to buy the games. But I already know that's not going to be the case. So, and I say not buy, I mean don't interact with it at all. If you are that dead set against it, don't purchase the console, don't purchase the games. Don't even interact with it in any way, shape, or form if there's something from it. Because again, I have to make that video. But stealing it, pirating it, is not going to help. It really isn't. Because I got a few things I got to say on that. I've already said several things, but there's some more things I got to say on that. But I'll leave it there. Thank you guys very much for listening, and keep your eyes and ears up for more stuff from me. And until the next time, enjoy your games and peace out, everybody.